Oil brings in the money. Oil is the reason why Russia, because the revenues are why Russia has been able to accumulate this $500 billion. But it's the gas that is politically strategic. Because if oil is cut off, it's inconvenient and it'll be troublesome and prices will go up. But you can always find somebody else outside if you're willing to pay a high enough price. If you find another tanker, find another pipeline, find another railroad car, find another tank truck. But if the gas is cut off, you don't have a standby gas pipeline sitting there. We haven't got to the stage where LNG is traded on the spot market on a day-to-day basis. If you can trade LNG, liquefied natural gas, but you still have to do it a year in advance, and you've got to have a big infrastructure to do it, and not everybody wants an infrastructure of natural gas tanks in their backyard. If any of you know Boston, it's very controversial. We don't want to build anything in the harbor because somebody will blow it up. The same kind of thing, I was in Connecticut speaking, well, the same kind of thing in Long Island Sound. They want to build a facility there to bring import the LNG, and nobody wants it in their backyard. So, and if you do build it, it's still going to cost you $3 billion or so, and you just can't put $3 billion aside for a rainy day. I mean, that's just, and you can't have a standby pipeline for exactly the same reason. So if you have that pipeline and you're dependent on it, you're cooked if it's turned out. Ronald Reagan understood that, believe it or not. And he did everything he could to prevent the Germans from building a natural gas pipeline from Russia. And he finally convinced them, well, first of all, he prevented the sale of General Electric turbines, which they needed to move the gas, so in an effort to sabotage the whole project. The Germans got them instead from England. Then the Germans understood there were problems, and so they will hold down our consumption to 25% of what we import. If you look at this table, you'll see it's 40%, and indeed it's up to 42% now. And you have to understand that not only Germany, but the other West European countries are vulnerable in much the same way. France is not as bad. Italy is not as bad because they're at the other end of the pipeline, and they can rely on more of their gas from Algeria. But Germany is in the eastern end of the pipeline, and then when it's cut off, they are in difficulty. And you know, when the Russians reduced the sale of natural gas to Ukraine, the Ukrainians reduced the flow, and the Germans were caught this way.